What's going on, guys? It's your boy Lowe's here, and welcome back to the Front Club, where we discuss all things Tesla. In today's video, we're going to be surprising a good friend of mine, Toad, because it was his birthday just a couple of weeks ago, and he has been wanting a heads-up display for his Tesla Model Y, but he didn't know which one to get. So I went ahead and reached out to my friends over at Tesstudio, and they hooked us up with the latest version of the F9C, which is their heads-up display that has built-in CarPlay, an air conditioning pass-through vent. It's got a brand new UI, front-facing camera, and so much more. So we're going to go ahead and surprise my boy Tove, and in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead also and unbox this bad boy, show you guys everything that's included. We'll go get him installed in his vehicle, and then I'll go over the entire UI, what they've updated, show you guys how it looks, how it functions, so that this way you guys can see if it's the right heads-up display for your Tesla Model 3 or Model Y as well. So let's go ahead and get this bad boy unboxed, and I'll show you what's inside. Come join me. All right, guys, so included in the box, we have, of course, our leaflet that goes over the new F9C from Tesstudio. Kind of goes over, of course, their warning and disclaimers, gives you the installation manual as well as an installation video here and their customer service information number, as well as another QR code for their warranty and support. Now, once we go ahead and take this off, of course, we have all of our cables. This is our camera, as well as the cable for the camera and our mounting bracket, as well as these 3M adhesive. Here we have our harness, a pry tool, and then the main event, which is our Tesstudio display here. And as you can see, it is a really nice display. You have your air conditioning pass-through right here. And then, of course, our wires. This is where our mounting bracket will attach to. And as I've mentioned before, guys, this is an 8.9 screen, so it is a nice large screen. You also have your mounting guide here. This little sticker here, we're going to mount it on our dash. And this is going to kind of show us where to mount our screen. And then last but not least, we have the bracket that we're going to be using to mount it to our dash as well. So now that you've seen everything that's included in the box, now let's go ahead and head out to the car and get this bad boy installed. So now that you've seen everything that's included in the box, the first thing we're going to do is get the camera installed. And this camera installs and mounts right here at the bottom below our front bumper. So what we're going to have to do is take out, of course, our front compartment so that we can wire this up, run it inside our cabin, and then we can get all the rest of the wiring and, of course, our heads-up display mounted. So you're going to want to go ahead and grab yourself a power drill with a 10mm socket, and that's going to allow us to take out these screws right here. You have 1, 2, and then once we remove this right here, you have 2 more here at the bottom, which are these right here. So once we remove all that, we'll be able to pull this guy out. Now, one other thing that I want to show you that you're going to want to remove, guys, is this little plastic piece right here where our light is. If you just put your fingers behind, it should just pop out like that. And then this will unplug it. I got to get a little pry tool, but this will pop right out so that this way we can remove the tub. So let's get started with that. So I went ahead and grabbed myself a thin pry tool here. Really simple. Just push down right here, and then you should be able to just pull out just like that. Now we'll go ahead and put this to the side. And then grab yourself, again, your 10mm socket, and we're going to remove these 4 bolts. All right, now that we have these, our next step is to take this plastic piece off right here. We'll start on this side, just gently pulling up. Same thing on this side. And you want to be gentle with this because we don't want to damage our clips. Once we have it, we'll just set it to the side so it's out of our way and we don't break it. Now, once we have that, guys, it's really simple. We'll lift up right here and we can remove our tub. And we'll set this to the side as well. And of course, this is what your front looks like when you've removed your tub. In case you've never seen it, this is where your air filter is if you ever need to change that. Really simple to change, and you can see that in another video. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we'll mount our wire and then we'll run it up along this side. Now, most of the time, if you've looked at a lot of these other videos, they're going to want you to cut right here in this grommet that we see back there. You might be able to see it. They want you to cut that grommet, the rubber one back here, and they want you to run the wire through there. but I do not like doing that. If you watched my channel before, I try to be as less intrusive in cutting in the car as possible. So we're going to go ahead and run Tove's camera wire the same way I ran mine. We're going to snake it right through the panel, through the door, and we'll snake it in that way so that if he ever wants to remove it, we won't have any holes or any damage to the vehicle that we then have to worry about sealing back up. All right, guys, so now that we've gotten all this ready to go, go ahead and grab the camera that came in your kit. It looks like this. It comes with a little mounting bracket. I've already gone ahead and put that together. Really simple, just requires 2 little screws here at the bottom. And then you're going to see that it has this cable connected. Remove your purple cable from the rest of the cable harness. This is what we're going to run inside the car along the panel, like I said before. But this little cable right here, the way we're going to get this mounted is we're going to run this right here through the bottom. Now, this camera mounts right in the middle, and Tesla and Tesstudios have made it really simple because Tesla has these 5 different pillars right here for our grill, and Tesstudios has created this little notch right here. So you count 2 on each side. This one in the middle is where the camera is going to go. So we'll go ahead and run this cable back here like this. You are going to feel a little grommet back here, guys, like a little weather stripping. And that's how we're going to get it through and inside our front compartment. And I'll show you guys where that pops out here in a second. But this is just going to end up right here in between these. So we'll leave this right here and we can snake it out here from the other side. And as you can see, guys, here is our cable. It popped out right here from the little rubber grommet that I pulled. But now we'll just pull on this. And as we do that, you'll see that our camera here has lost all its slack. So we'll leave this right here before we mount it. But that's where it's going to go, nice and snug there. Now, we'll just go ahead again, connect our purple wire here so that it doesn't go anywhere. And now we'll just start with the routing process of this wire. And what I'm going to do here, guys, is that I'm going to take this wire and we're just going to keep running it all along the back here. Just like this. And I will later on, guys, come here with some zip ties and everything else, and we'll clean this up and make sure that it's nice and secure. But right now what I'm trying to do is just go ahead and get it through here. And then as I mentioned before, guys, I'm going to drop it right through here. Now you should be able to get it through there. If you have any issues where you're not able to, then we can just use a little tool, but we can go this way just like this.
I see, that's really quite clever, isn't it?
Okay. And now we have our wire through the back here. We'll pull all our slack out. All right. Now that we have all the slack out there, guys, now we can go ahead and we will leave this right here because we're going to run this right behind here. And this is actually going to plug in to our heads-up display, which is going to be mounted over there on the driver's side. So we'll leave that right there for now, and we'll get the rest of our installation process started. So let's move on to the next step. So now go ahead and grab the pry tool that came included in your package. And what we're going to do is you're going to take this little molding off right here. Pull this to the side here. And the reason for that is because we're going to need to take this off, but this little plastic piece needs to come off here. So we will go ahead and just pry this off right here. It is held on with clips, so you can just gently pull that off. And then this guy right here, we're actually good. We don't need to remove that one on this side. We will need to remove it on the other side though. So we're going to go to the other side and remove that plastic piece as well. Now, one thing I do want to point out, guys, is that my buddy Tove's car is actually made from the Austin, Texas plant. And for that reason, it's a little bit different than most of them. You'll notice right here that he actually has a little hex screw that we're going to need to remove in order to remove the dash piece. Unlike my car, as you guys know, mine is just held in with clips if you watch any of my other previous videos. But I like to point that out because I don't want you guys to just automatically always assume that there's clips there, because every vehicle, depending on where it's built, might have a subtle difference. So we'll go ahead and remove those little hex screws as well on both sides before we start yanking up on this. But let's go ahead and get this other panel removed before we get to that step. Now here, you had already seen that I had pulled this off. We're going to pull the rest of it off here as well. And the reason for that is because we're going to need to access this whole side also. That's where all our wiring harness is going to go. So the way we do that, guys, is pretty simple. We take this side off here as well. This will just pop right out, just like the other side, as so. Now we also have to take off this plastic piece here. Now this one pops out and then you pull up. So we take it here, pop out, pull up. Now we have this guy right here. The other side of your pry tool, you're going to notice you have a little clip here. You just pry underneath, that'll pop up, and we can just remove our little clip. And then once you do that, guys, you should be able to pull this back just like this, and then this will all just pull up. Now, Tove does have some carbon fiber pieces here, guys, so those are Velcroed down so that they don't move. But once you pull that out, it'll just be able to pull everything out here. We'll set it to the side. Now, guys, you should be left with this whole area here. You're going to have this tie down that you see here. You're going to want to, again, take your pry tool. That'll pop this little guy right here, just like that. And that will now allow us to bring this to the side, because we're going to need to access our little hub port that we see right back here. That's going to be where we plug in our accessory, this little guy right here. So now let's go ahead and get the rest of our wiring, and we'll get that done. But before we head on over to the other side, guys, grab yourself a T9, and we're going to remove, remember, those little hex screws that I talked about before. Really simple. Grab this here. All right, and we'll put this one here to the floor so we don't lose it, and we'll take the same screw out on the driver's side. All right. Now that we've taken those off, guys, now we're going to go ahead and remove this. But Tove also has another accessory here, which is his drop-down case. I don't want it to damage anything, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this as well. Remember, guys, if you have any accessories that are going to be obstructing this, you definitely want to remove them so that you don't yank up and then damage the accessory in the process. But now we should be able to gently pull up just like that. We'll go to the other side, or get in the vehicle and do the same thing here. All right. Now that we've gotten these clips off, guys, now we can just gently pull back, and we've removed our dash piece. And we'll bring this inside, guys, because we got to mount our screen to this. So we'll put it out of the way while we wire the rest of the stuff, and then we'll get the mounting done. So let me put this away, and then we'll get the wiring done. Now the next step is grab your harness. We're going to go ahead and get this wired up. You're also going to need this little adapter that came with your kit. This is your power cable, and this is going to plug in to our power line that goes to the screen. So once you unravel this, all of these cables here, guys, are going to go towards the floor, and the longest one that you see that says screen power plug, that's going to plug into this adapter right here, just like this. And this is our power plugs and all that, which will go right here, and we'll leave this hanging right here. Now, the other thing we want to go ahead and do is finish running our camera cable. You guys remember we left this kind of hanging here. So really simple, guys. What you're going to want to do, or what I like to do in this process, is I raise this little grommet here, and I just tuck this underneath here, so it's out of sight, out of mind. And then as you can see, this little plastic trim piece right here, I just tuck the cable right behind that, just like this. And now we have our cable inside of the vehicle where we need it without drilling any holes. Now grab this cable, and you're just going to want to line it up where you have the other power cable. We want to have all of our extra cable over here, guys, on this side, because we can tuck it in back here into our footwell. We do not want to have a bunch of extra cables up top, because we want to keep all of our clips as clear as possible so that when we put our dash back in, they all clip in nice and well, and we don't have anything obstructing them. So now that we've gone ahead and done that, now we just need to plug the rest of our harness in. And I know there's a lot of cables here, guys, a lot of different plugs, but don't worry. We're only going to be using actually 2 of them. We're going to find our AMD plug, which is what this car is. It's an AMD processor. So grab that. And you're going to want to plug it in right here into this plug right here that you see. That one right there. That's where we're going to go ahead and plug it in. So what you want to do is just plug this guy in right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I know it's a little dark in here. But once you plug that in, you're going to be left with this opening. And don't worry, guys, this is just an extra so that if you ever have another accessory, you can just plug it in right there. Now we can tuck this into the back. And then what you want to go ahead and do, guys, is, of course, plug in your power cable, which is going to be this guy right here. You're going to see that you have the AMD power plug 2-in-1. What we're going to do, not a problem, is grab the power right from here. So we will go ahead and remove this plug here, just like that. Our AMD plug goes in like this, our power plug, boom. And now we just plug this one in right here into the female end that it brought with it. And now we're done wiring our harness, guys. So now we can take all these other cables and we'll just tuck them back here, get them out of sight. And then we'll clean all this other stuff up after we're done with the rest of it, guys. But we just want to make sure that we get all these. Same thing with our camera cable. You can go ahead and put all this excess cable back here as well. All right, now that we've gone ahead and done that, guys, I'm going to grab a little bit of electrical tape and I'm going to tape this down here just again so that it doesn't move on us, so that it's nice and clean. Then we'll go ahead and grab our dash and our heads-up display, bring it into the car, plug everything in, test it out, make sure it's working, and then we'll just snap our dash back in and clean everything up. So let's go ahead and get that done. Now we're going to go ahead and mount our heads-up display to our dash. Now, the first thing I like to do, guys, is grab some interior cleaner. I'm using some Total Interior from Chemical Guys. And we just want to wipe this down because you're going to be sticking our guide onto here as well as mounting your unit. So you're not going to be able to clean that if it's dirty. So you want to make sure you're working with a clean surface, which I always like to do. Now, once we've gotten this nice and clean, you're going to want to go ahead and grab yourself the guide that I showed you earlier and grab that. You're going to take it off gently here. You don't want to tear it because there is some perforations there. And I'll tell you why those perforations exist later on in the video. But we're going to mount this. This is our driver's side. It goes right here along this corner. You want to line it up nicely because this is what's going to tell us where we're going to mount everything. And then just put it just like that. All right. Now we have our guide. You see those little 3 holes right there, guys? Those little markings? Those little 3 dots are indicators as to where these 3 cables will be snaked through. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll take these 3 cables, make sure that they're lined up properly, and we're just going to start 1 through there, 1 through here, and 1 up. Aha, see, that's what I wanted to make sure, is that we have them lined up. So it should be, all right, 2, 1, and 3 in this case. So 2, 1, and 3. Now, once we have those like that, we can move this over, pull these from the back here. All right. Once we have that there, guys, then we can just pull these down and our unit will just drop in just like so. Now, go ahead, grab our protector here so that we're not scratching anything. And then grab yourself this bracket that came with the kit as well. And what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to snake these 3 cables. We're going to snake those. And you want to make sure that these are face down, just like that, because these is going to go right here. It's going to fall in just like that. And now we'll go ahead and grab our little screws that came with our kit, and they go 1 in each here. There's 4 little screws. I'm going to tighten those down. So and as you can see, guys, they did provide some extra screws, so we'll want to go ahead and put those to the side in case we ever need them. Now that we've mounted our unit and we're ready to go, now we can go ahead and mount it back on the car. All right. So now we'll go ahead and gently put our dash here back into place, lining it up where it needs to be. But before we snap it in, guys, like I said before, let's go ahead and test it by plugging everything in and making sure that it's fully functional before we finish our install. So you grab your 3 cables here from your unit, and then again, remember we have our cables here. So we'll plug them in red to red. And these do have a little groove to them, guys, so it's not going to go in unless you line it up correctly with the groove. So once we do that, and then finally our black cable, black to black, there we go. And if we did this correctly, guys, as soon as I press the accelerator, this should pop on. And there we go. We have power, which means that we have a successful installation. And if I go ahead and put the car into drive, our camera should turn on here. Let's ignore the fact that our front is open. But now we should have our camera turning on here. Let's see. And there's our camera. So, camera's functional, which is great. Obviously, we still have to mount it so that we have a nice image. It's still hanging down there, but our camera's working. Everything is good. So now we can go ahead, finish mounting our camera, snap all this back in place, and we're done. All right, guys, so now we're just going to finish up mounting the camera. We're going to stick it onto our bumper. Now, it does come with some screws on there, but like I've said before, I'm not big into screwing things on there. I will tell you that the 3M adhesive they use is nice and sticky. It does get a good adhesion on there, especially if you use something like adhesion promoter. In this case, I'm going to use some 91% isopropylene alcohol just so that we can make sure that our area is super clean of debris. There's no contaminants or anything underneath here because this is where we're going to be installing it. And then once we stick that on there, guys, and it's nice and clean, yeah, I can see that it's nice and clean now, then you can also adjust the side and we'll adjust the angle. So let me go ahead and pull this off here. All right. And now we'll go ahead and we're going to line it up with this little guy right here, just like this. And we'll stick it on. And once it's on there, guys, see how it's a little bit loose? I'll go ahead and grab a screwdriver and we'll tighten this up. All right, now it's nice and solid there. It's not going anywhere. All right, guys, so now that we've got our camera mounted, everything is good to go there. We've tested our screen. That's working perfectly fine. So now we'll go ahead and grab our tub. We'll get that put back together and we'll finish putting everything back the way it was. And then we'll go ahead and see all the amazing features that the screen has to offer. So let's get this done. And just like that, guys, we're done. Now let's go ahead and check out all the amazing features this brand new updated T9C from Tesstudio has to offer. Come check it out.